Howdy. I had someone, well, a few people actually have asked me what I'm using, how I'm rigging up um, for my coho fishing, my Chinook fishing, when I'm trolling out in the sound on the kayak. And I figured I'd just give a little walkthrough on what I do, how I do it. It's just what I do. You can take it or leave it. Maybe you can get something from it. But yeah, I'm just gonna go through it. I use, for my leader, I use Maxima Ultra Green, the 30 pound. A guy with a channel called Spilt Milk did a little demonstration of the differences between how, fluorocarbon leaders and monofilament leaders behave. The action that you get from them in the water. And the mono is much more neutrally buoyant, and so it actually produces way better action in the water. So I started tying everything in monofilament when it comes to trolling. All my leaders are monofilament now. So yeah, this is a 30-pound monofilament line. I just had a couple of 4/0 hooks hanging around. These are barbed. Yeah, you can kind of see. If you're out in the sound, you got to pinch these barbs, but I'm just tying up a new rig. If I take them out to the sound, I'll pinch them with my pliers out there. But for now, I'm not going to bother with it. I just don't have pliers on me at the moment. I've got some snips, but anyway. So I'm just going to tie actually an egg loop knot on this. I don't know if people have tied these, but I take since it's a heavier line, take 4 wraps. Grab it down here, keep it taut. Get the end of the line, come back through the loop, just like a couple inches through. Grip the whole thing, all the wire there, or all the lines so it doesn't untangle. Grab the shank, pull my finger down. So here we have all of this. It's kind of hard to see. And then I'll just take a few more wraps around, 2, 3, 4. So I end up with a total of about 8 wraps if I'm using 30-pound mono. And then I'm going to take the tag end here, just this loose end that we sent through the eye, and I'm just going to work it out, pinching here the whole time, and we'll pull out that slack. And then I like to give this little tag end on the shank just a little tug, not too much, but just a little bit. You can kind of see here what we have going on. Great little knot. If you're not familiar, go look up the egg loop knot and learn to tie it by heart. It's very useful. But that'll just allow the hook to kind of sit straight, straight up presentation. Really like it. I'll clip off most of that tag. So then that's our single hook. For our second hook, we'll just take our leader end, right? Leader end, hook through the loop, or the eye, come all the way down. And I usually set it just almost right above the other hook. You can give it a little bit more gap, whatever you prefer. When you tie it up, it's going to kind of move a little bit. So I like to almost line it up perfectly with the end of the first hook. Some people like to alternate their hooks, try to get them so they sit like this. I don't know. I don't know that it makes a huge difference. I usually try to do it, but I kind of end up messing it up along the way somewhere. So anyway, I'm just going to do this knot once more. Same egg loop knot. Come back through. Grip the whole thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Grip it. Pull it through. And yes, I do still sometimes mess up these knots. Hopefully I don't this time. Got it. But you can see it happened. I flipped them over again. So Maybe they'll work their way out to be alternating, but it doesn't really matter that much. So anyway, knots are in. Cool, we got our 2 hooks. All right. Next thing I will do is I like to take these little Bomac plastic beads. These are glow. These ones are 5mm. You could use larger if you wanted, but for whatever reason, this is just what I have, so I'm going to use them. Let me see, on my other rig, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 beads. And I'll explain why I have so many of them. Like I said, you could use larger beads and you would need less of them. I just like the narrower presentation of them. So we'll slide 1 on there. 2, 3, just like on there. 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. So those are 7 of the 5mm right there. Okay. And then I'll take the larger, which I scraped off the sides of these, but you know, they're notably larger. So these ones were 5mm, these ones are larger. The reason I picked the larger is because these plugs have this gap here, right here, and you want something that's not going to go inside there. And you'll see why if you're not familiar with these plugs. But I'm going to slide that larger bead on now. Let it come all the way down. And then take our plug. And I'm just going to go through this little hole here. And then out through this hole. Pull the whole thing through. All right. And here we have our setup. Now, in this case, I think the shank on these hooks might be a little longer, so I might take some of these small beads out. But what I'm looking for is this hook to be cleared of the plug itself. It doesn't have to be way out here. As a matter of fact, it's better if it's a little bit closer, which is why I'll probably take a couple of beads out. But I want it to be just clear of the plug. So as you know, your bait's moving around, or your lure's moving around, you're not rubbing on here. And as the fish is hooked up, I don't know, maybe it just permits them not to have as much leverage against the plug. So I like to do that. I don't run it through this other little hole. You could, if you really wanted to. I don't know, maybe there's no problem with it, but I like this extra motion you get off of the plug. Just personal preference. So that's how I do it. But yeah, this is in general how I do it. Key point being that you want, you know, this hook to be right near the end, but clearing the end of the plug. Yeah, and then I'll, you know, take this, and I got, you know, tuna in oil, just like from the store. Cheapest tuna you can find that's in oil is a good way to do it. Pack it up here. Don't overpack it. Yeah, I mean, because if you put too much in here, you really cram this thing full, it can impact the action of the lure. So, you know, give it a decent amount slid in here. I'll usually also take out these little scent pads or whatever you want to call them. Because if I'm packing with tuna, I just want the tuna, and this takes up space. I can get more in here. Not a whole lot more, but a little bit more. And so, you know, that's usually what I'll do. Close it up, put your band on. Make sure that your rubber band's all the way on, because these things will come off, and it's very annoying to lose your rubber band when you're out there fishing. Usually good to have an extra one on hand. And then I have a 48-inch leader. Now, I sort of measured this one out. I'm not sure exactly what I have at the moment because I don't have my measuring board out here on the table, but I'm looking for about 48 inches from the top of the plug. So top of the plug to my little swivel that we'll see up here. On the end of it, I usually tie just a little snap swivel. You all are probably familiar. Just a little snap swivel. I'll put that at the top of the leader so I can switch it out easily. I'm not going to do it right now because, again, I want to measure this before I actually put it on. And then that will attach directly to my Dodger, or my flasher, rather. Y'all are probably familiar. I use pretty much these 3 short bus flashers. 360 flashers. They're kind of dirty right now. Been using them a lot. So yeah, I mean, you just attach to the end there and let her rip. I use this color, these two here. I think this one's called the panty dropper, and I don't remember what these other two are called, but these are pretty much the three patterns I use. Really, truthfully, I primarily use these two the most. And then above those, I actually have these little flashing lights that I got on Amazon. For example, if you wet your finger here, see it does this. I hope that comes through on the camera. But it just flashes like this under the water as soon as you get it into the water. That seems to have made a pretty significant difference in drawing the fish. So pro tip, if you will. Yeah, something like that. At Sportsman's the other day, I saw they have these little stick-on ones that you can put on the flasher body itself. Like it'll actually stick to the flasher. Yeah, it's the same concept. I don't see why it wouldn't work. Some flashers, I think I even have them built in. This one I like. It's right at the top. Sits above the flasher. Nothing's blocking it. It's just displaying clear as day. So I like them. They hold up. They're cheap. You can find them on Amazon. I'll grab I have one of my rods in here. So I'll show you what I got here. This is one that I've been using. Matter of fact, you've probably seen it in my other videos in action. So I have a bead swivel, the bead chain here. That flasher, you know, so you have your actual flasher attached here. Okay. Our actual flasher. We got the light flasher, bead chain, and then I think this is 40-pound mono between, you know, as my bumper here, between the bead chain, about, oh, I don't know, 2 feet, 2 or 3 feet, whatever that is, to another bead chain, because you get so much rotation out of these things that it can transfer into your line real easily and you get tangled up. Even with these 2 bead chains, I still get some twist in my braid. And then this is, I believe, a 50-pound braid. I like a heavy main line just because, well, if something gets snagged up, though, you know, you typically don't snag up a flasher, but if you're running like right off the bottom for Chinook or something, you never know. So I like to be able to break off if need be, or to really put some force into trying to retrieve this gear. Nobody likes to lose their flasher and all that. The flashers are pricey. So anyway, that's what I do. I got a little bead above this last bead chain, and swivel chain, whatever you want to call it. And that's just for if I'm reeling in real aggressively and not paying attention, I want to be able to protect the tip of my rod. It just helps to kind of protect that. So that's why that's there. But yeah, that's pretty much my rig. These plugs are the blackjack color. This is the Super Bait from Brad's. I really like these things. I've caught Chinook on them, I've caught coho, I've caught pinks with this rig that I've just shown you. Consistently caught them. So I really like them. I think they hold up well. I think this rig holds up really well. And highly recommend. So yeah, for those who were interested in what I do, what I run, how I rig it, that's it. Hopefully this is helpful to somebody. Maybe you're new to fishing for salmon out in the Sound or even in the rivers. I might actually literally take this rig that we just put together and take it into the Snohomish or something and see if I can get lucky trolling it behind me. We'll see. But anyway, y'all take care. Have a good one. Get out, fish, have fun. Yeah, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.